from this world. It's a kingdom that is not defined by our human understanding of finiteness. It's not defined by that which begins and ends. You know, we have this nasty habit of every 365 days, what happens? We have a
New Year.
No, not a New Year. Deborah, what are you having Thursday?
Birthday.
Birthday, you know. And every blessed one of them. Now, there comes a point in time when we wish to goodness, I don't want to acknowledge that birthday. I just really don't want to admit it. But I sure did like getting my first Social Security check. That was pretty sweet. You know, humanity. We create things so that we can mark where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. But the mystery of the message is that there is not going to be an end to it because of God's love through His Son for each one of us here. Christ is the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead and the ruler of the kings of the earth. Christ is unequivocally the only ruler of the kingdom. And now, Jesus calls us to be priests in that kingdom of God. And because Christ is our King, and we are His servants, we are His vassals, call it what you will, we are obedient to Him, and we are called to serve until He returns to claim the kingdom that is His. In the endings and in the beginnings of our everyday lives, births, marriages, deaths, we mark the passing of the ages until He comes back, until the King returns. My son has done a tremendous amount of work in the genealogy of my family. And he's gotten us traced back all the way to about 1740. We found out when my name, Russell, used to be Roussel. And we knew I emigrated, my family emigrated, from French Quebec. When my great-grandfather married my great-grandmother, he was French, she was American. He moved to upstate New York, and the name became anglicized, and Roussel became Russell. And that's how we mark things. And each one of you all have ways that you mark your family history. Because everybody has a story. Well, as our story goes on, however long it goes, we are called to be faithful witnesses to a world that, friends, is so skeptical about this one that we call King. And we are called to minister to them and to serve them and to tell them that He is the King and He is coming back and that He does love them and that their doubts are ill-founded. I close with a little story about a myth about the greatest of the English kings. And that would be King Arthur of the Round Table. And the myth is that Arthur will return again to England when England faces its greatest hour of need. But that myth, that legend, is built in time as we know it. That myth and legend is built in space as we know it as humans. But the return of Christ to reign over all of creation will be something far, far greater than Arthur coming back when England needs him the most, for His kingdom will come from the one who was, who is, and who is to be. Christ says that He is who? He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end and the beginning. Doesn't make any difference which way you put it first. Endings and beginnings and end are for us. They're for humans. to mark the passing of our lives when He comes, and He will come. We won't hear some herald cry that the King is dead. Long live the King. Let me tell you what we're going to hear, friends. Let me tell you what we're going to hear. We'll hear that the King who comes is the King without beginning, and He is the King without end. He's the King who was, He's the King who is, and He is the King who is to be. So, like all the heralds of the kingdoms, when that day happens, we will raise our voices and we will proclaim as one, the King lives. Long lives the King. And the people said, Amen. 117. Sing it again with me 2 times. You don't need to look.